Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community. Welcome to Monday Mornings with Jake Meeks. This is a Reinventing drawing group. And if you are up early, awake, alive, alert, and enthusiastic, then you can be zooming in. Is this working? Oh, I think it is. Sorry, it is Monday morning. If this is working for you, let us know in the chat rooms. It's a good time to give it a share around. Well, we get a little introduction going. We don't have any ads during these shows. We might in the future, so we just need to make sure that we mention all of our events and everything ahead of time. So not exactly sure where you're beaming in from. You could be on the YouTubes or the Facebooks or listening to a replay on the podcasts. You could always catch all of the live events, and we encourage everybody to join live at community.reinventingthetattoo.com or go to either of the app stores. Pick your poison. And then the first link there is the events link. And when you click on it, you will see the Reinventing Drawing Group with Jake Meeks. And then there's a link there to zoom in. And yeah, it's awesome. We have artists beaming in from all around the world generally. So let's see. If you are a tattooer, then it's an awesome time. You could open up a new window and go to reinventingthetattoo.com/sample pack. Actually, you know what? You could also test out this other new URL I have. It's actually easier to remember. Reinventingthetattoo.com/247. And you'll see we actually have a whole network of shows playing the reruns. And at the bottom there is a form, and if you fill it out, you'll get Cheyenne cartridges, some raw pigments, some t-shirts. We're throwing in more stuff in these goodie bags. It's pretty awesome. And if you are starting to get them, then get the pictures and shout it out on the social medias. Okay, excuse me. So weekly staple events on the Reinventing channel. And again, this is kind of like a network where we're streaming out 5 to 7 days a week. And we have all of these replays in the library. The Reinventing drawing groups are every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So if you're watching the replay or you're not quite prepared, you have no excuse for next Monday morning. We've been doing this for months now. And we're doing the Reinventing drawing groups. That's every Monday at 9 o'clock. Also every Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon with Jason Lesser and Leeser. Fuck, I'm not going to get it right ever again. At 1 o'clock on Sundays, it's awesome. You don't have to get up early if you are on the East Coast. And he also has a great group going on. And then, let's see, Thursdays, we have the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. And then I guess I'm committing to it now for us. We will be doing a fireside tattoo, Reinventing Tattoo Now, kind of wrap it all together show. I guess we need to come up with a title, huh, Jake? Every Sunday at 9 o'clock at night, where we will go over some of the highlights of the previous week. We will talk in anticipation of the upcoming week's events, and then highlight some artists and sponsors and whatnot. It'll be pretty cool. So that's every Sunday at 9. We're pretty much beaming out 7 days a week. So that's pretty amazing. And yeah, like I said, if we're testing out this new link, reinventingthetattoo.com/247 at any given time has 4 replays, and one of them is in Spanish even. Okay, let's see. We've got to thank all of our sponsors. That is rawpigments.co. They have acrylic-free pigments. So they don't dry out in the cup, and they are vegan. Check it out. They have videos, rawpigments.co. We have inkjetstencils.com, where you do your tattoo reference on your iPads or your computer. Print out the stencils right from the computer. Saves your hands, time, a little bit of dough. 21st century stencils for 21st century tattoos. It's pretty amazing. inkjetstencils.com. And then, let's see, we've also got tattoonow.com. I'm catching up on the Reinventing technology, which means I'm able to take care of people's websites and CRMs and all the techie stuff again. Actually, websites are just one piece of the puzzle. Anyways, that's tattoonow.com. Then we have GuyAitchison.com, who makes this happen. He's got all of his stuff that he has for sale. He's got some machines, he's got DVDs, he's got paintings and prints. And then courses.reinventingthetattoo.com is where you'll find not only Guy Aitchison's canon, which includes the full online courses with tremendous amounts of videos, but also exclusive Monday night exercises with Guy Aitchison. Every Monday at 9 o'clock, there is an exercise where the whole subscriber group gets together, and it's pretty sick. The progress is tremendous. It is like, all these exercises are great. This is like going to the art gym, and then every Monday night, it's like going to train with everybody together at the same time. It's like, well, like I said, it's like art training or whatever. Anyways, it's great. So that's the courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. It also has replay seminars from Andre Malcolm. He's got an awesome one for 99 bucks, a koi design sleeve, got rave reviews from it. Tony Urbanek has how to build a tattoo machine. It's 8 webinars that you build a machine from pieces parts. It's pretty with hand tools. It's amazing to watch. BJ Betts, Bob Tyrella's whole message on the Reinventing Business courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Okay, upcoming real world events. It does seem like this is working. Sorry, these days we have like 3 jobs. We're like the controller, the host, the techie, and our live chat room. Anyways, and the scriptwriter, and the an hour. Okay, we actually have real world events coming up. October 3rd to the 6th. That's this October 3 to the 6th is the Paradise BYOB. It is literally a BYOB. People are asking for with the website and stuff. It's not up. I guess we will get one up, but it is a BYOB. Show up, bring your own booze, bring your own berries, if you're a vegan, bring your own bud, bring your own brushes, bring your own brains, bring your own books. I don't know, bring your own everything. We're going to do a whole variety of seminars, webcasts like this. We've got Jiminy Peak Mountain Resort rented out the 3rd to the 6th. You can rent your rooms, and there will be some ticketed things for sale, but most of it is going to be pretty laid back. And again, bring your own BYOB October 3rd to the 6th. Don't fret, you can rent your rooms, even though there's no information, but you don't have to. Again, we're trying to keep this thing nice and kind of chill. We're not looking to pack the place, but it is a beautiful time if anybody knows Jiminy Peak. Okay, November 12th to the 14th, the Brussels Tattoo Convention, a great quality Reinventing the Tattoo contingent is coming over. Including Nick Baxter, Ivana, and I will be doing seminars. We'll be getting the Reinventing subscribers together to do art jams, maybe do a drink and draw. We'll have a breakfast, that kind of thing. This is in Brussels, Belgium, the November 12th to the 14th. So presuming that we could still get into the continent, we'll be heading on over. Let's see, next year, I'm going to run through some dates. Get your pens and papers out for 2022. Reinventing setting up big time at Hell City, Columbus, May 20th to the 22nd. That's in Columbus, Ohio. July 8th to the 10th is the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo right on a river in Rockford, Illinois. It's Cliff Breakers is the venue. TattooArtExpo.com is the website in progress. You can, but again, we're just penciling dates for 2022, July 8th to the 10th. Let's see, July 29th to the 31st is the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational that Tony Urbanek hosts in Pittsburgh, I believe. That's happening, July 29th to the 31st. And then October 20th to the 23rd is 2022 is the Paradise Tattoo Gathering, which will be 4 days in Paradise at the Jimmy Peak Mountain Resort again. We'll kind of do the OG tattoo convention that we did there and that we missed. So lastly, if you have positive reviews, please go out to all of those channels I was talking about: YouTube, Facebook, app stores, podcast store, because all of this Reinventing Tech and channels are new. So we could really use your kind reviews to get us up on those visibility statistic things. So I don't know, I guess people dig it. And constructive criticisms come to management at reinventingthetattoo.com, as well as if anybody that might be interested in sponsoring or bringing the Reinventing events to you. So I'm going to kind of peek into that background. Matthew says hi there. Okay, this is working. I'm going to share it around on the Facebooks. And welcome to Monday morning. Hey, Jake, how goes it?
What's up, man? How are you? It's been like 6 long hours since we talked or something like that.
I know. I haven't slept a couple of them.
Then check this out. This is super cool. This is the first time that I've been able to get, not only, let me pull my OBS virtual camera, not only do I have my Cintiq hooked up, but I also have my my iPad. Everything that I have ever wanted to connect to my OBS, I actually have. Look at this. I can cycle through all of them. You know what it was? I had to update.
Nice.
I had to update basically everything. That's what it was. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
excited about that.
That is really exciting. I've got, thanks to Lauren, I've been working on my thing here. I guess I don't quite have as many. I could go straight to this. I only have one thing set up, but I could just click it now. Boom. And I could do it while I'm watching. Look, so now I'm looking.
Yeah, perfect. Look at that. Man, this technology is finally working for everyone. I should, at least today it is. We'll see. What's happening? Akshay, how are you?
Hello, sir. Good morning to you.
Good
Engaged
morning.
with.
Good morning. I was wondering if anyone was going to be able to get on. I had whenever I tried to go to the community Reinventing app and I clicked on the Zoom link, it said the meeting ID was invalid. So people maybe did it work? Is that how you got on?
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
got into the app and then zoomed in from there.
Okay, good. It's working. I don't know what the deal was for me.
You know, you may, when I first went to the event schedule, it was showing the event from yesterday also. So you might have clicked yesterday's Zoom by accident.
Yeah.
But then when I went back to it, it cleared off Sunday's calendar. So I think that I just clicked it before my app had a chance to refresh the schedule.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that could be it. I didn't refresh the page actually. I just clicked on it, so it may have pulled up some like cached version of the page too. Who knows? So.
I'm always great down to double check, but it is good form. I mean, just a little peek behind the scenes and any of this tech stuff. The best form, if anybody's listening, is to post the link, and then you're never done until you test it, right? So after I post the link, the way that then I go to the page and then I click the link and I beam into my phone, and as soon as it's beamed in and connecting, that's actually when the task is done, right? So
right.
But thank you for double checking on that, because sometimes we mess it up.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I real quickly, and I don't know how many people are watching. I know not many people have zoomed in yet, but you did mention that we're going to start a Sunday night kind of like. I've been thinking of it more like a newscast where we're just kind of, like you said, we're going to do the weekend review and what's upcoming, both for Reinventing and for Fireside. I'm excited about that. For one thing, I think it's going to give us a chance to play with our like production quality and try to really make it like look like a newscast and super cool. So that's something I've been into a lot lately, but I need help with because I'm not very techie, and you're more techie than I am for sure. And then also it'll make sure that I actually have something to do each week. A lot of weeks I'm kind of winging it on the Fireside stuff, and I'm like, well, what should we put out this week? And I don't really have anything. And so if I have to get on camera and tell you what we're doing each Sunday, then that will make me actually do something each week. So that's pretty.
Yeah, it'll help us
helpful.
tighten everything up a little bit. You know, we'll. I mean, the goal will be to get the email out. You know, that goes out an hour before the Sunday webcast, so that basically every Sunday evening, like clockwork, we get the schedule out. And you know, I think if we could get a week ahead of it, it'd be, you know, absolutely amazing. And this will be a good opportunity to do so. Absolutely. And to spotlight different things that people may have missed. I think I was saying yesterday, you know, there was 2 full streams. There was one with Matt Gaughan and Mary Jane, and Guy and Lauren interviewed about disabilities and medical tattooing. And both of those guests have, you know, like 30-ish, maybe over 30-year histories inside of the tattoo world. I think Matt was talking, you know, they were talking about stories from the 80s. And then and Russ Abbott was on the Tattoo Collecting podcast. And
nice.
That's on Thursdays when I'm working at Needle Jig, so I only get to kind of beam in. But
I meant to tune in for that one. I think I was tattooing at that point, but I wonder how that went. I'd like to get Russ more involved in some of this stuff. I know he's doing his own stuff with Tattoo Smart, but I like this kind of I don't know, collaborative stuff, since we're all kind of trying to solve the same problems and address the same issues. And I would say Russ is kind of in that same has that same mindset. I'd like to work closely with him on, you know, stuff with his YouTube and with everything that Tattoo Smart is doing, which it seems like they're doing some cool stuff. It's just a matter of, you know, making it happen and seeing where it makes sense. You know, I'm happy to share whatever he puts out or whatever you guys put out, and I think, you know, vice versa, you guys are doing the same. But it's cool when you can actually collaborate and you each bring something kind of unique to the table that the other one doesn't. And so that's what I guess.
YouTube is so saturated with, like, I learned how to tattoo on YouTube, so now I'm teaching how to tattoo on YouTube. I've had to do this for a couple of my gigs where I'm like just going through YouTube searching for like tattoo videos and the most popular ones, and the ones that are, you know, by far the most popular always had how to tattoo shade, how to, you know, this, you know, it's all how to tattoo stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, to be able to, and we don't need to compete with those kind of numbers. I never have it. You know, everybody that's watching is a quality eyeball, and you know, there will eventually be, you know, hopefully some, you know, positive business generated amongst however the energies exist. I trust in all that. And I know it works because we do it, but you know, I want to, you know, there's a large audience of tattooers that are out there that haven't yet been exposed to us clearly by the numbers of the other people showing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, keeping it amongst like-minded, you know, voices seems to me like a, you know, no-brainer. Let's pass everyone around, and everyone has a good time with the different voices.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And there are no doubt some other quality channels out there, you know, as well that probably deserve some attention. But it's funny, I came across this channel recently. This really, I mean, like a striking kind of guy. He had a very, he learned to tattoo, I guess, in prison, and has like you know, he's super fit, super like, you know, heavily tattooed and pretty articulate. And he was showing how to make black ink from like hair product or something like that. And this video had like, I mean, I might be exaggerating, but I want to say like 3 to 5 million views on this video on like how to make ink in prison. And I was like, wow, man, that dude has really tapped into something that I would have never addressed. And it's like, you know what, I would have never known. I would have never considered that many people wanted to watch it. But of course, I clicked on it and watched it. And he was articulate, you know, I mean, in a different way. But, you know, he definitely had like some like camera presence. And I thought, man, this dude is going to take over the tattoo, like the tattoo YouTube world, just because of like his unique perspective on how he learned to tattoo in prison. But that, you know, that's where we are. That's what it is.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna screen share this Reinventing 24/7. I'm so fucking psyched with the name of it. Optimized for video clip. I think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, so kind of in an effort
on demand stuff, right?
It's all on demand. So at any given time, or at least, you know, for the next month while we're testing this out, if anyone goes to reinventingthetattoo.com/247, we have 4 channels going right now of on-demand replays. So we've got the RIT podcast channel. So these are like, you know, this is a guy interviewing Hana Mantra. This was a sick-ass interview. These, you know, guys obviously been interviewing people for a while now, and they're always awesome. That's not actually Joe Harrison, although I've been talking to her about getting her back on. That's Hana Mantra. But yeah, then we have this is one of Jason's reinventing drawing groups, but then all of these replays here exist. So if people are like overwhelmed with all of the different you know, shows that we have, then this will just kind of play them for you. Well, I'm like taxing up my bandwidth here. We got the tattoo collecting podcast channel, and then the Spanish channel.
Nice. You know, speaking of Spanish, I've got someone that is translating all of I identified like our 10 biggest kind of episodes, mostly technique episodes or short episodes, and sent them off, and they're all being translated into Spanish. I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know if we should do another, you know, last night we were talking about separate channels. I don't know if it takes off, if we should do a Fireside Espanol or something like that, or if it should just be a playlist, a Spanish playlist. I'm really not sure, but I love the idea. And it's, I mean, if you go through our comments, there are a lot of people that obviously English is not their first language. Some of them American probably, but most of them not. Yeah. So actually, what's going on? I said hi, but I didn't ask what you're working on today. How was your week, and what kind of projects do you have going?
Yes, sir. Like these days, sir, people are coming with a lot of cover-ups to me, like crazy cover-ups. And last week I showed to Jason, sir, about the cover-up that I was going to do. It's like a whole black scene over here. Someone just put a blotch of a black, and then that guy is coming to me like to do the cover-up. So I was thinking to like do something like Hanumantra style, black, because I have no ideas to like create a design around that. So I was thinking to like put something black around the backside and then put some geometrical designs in the front and then give it a nice negative space and flow towards the full sleeve. And
Yeah.
yesterday also there was one guy who wanted to get a cover up, and it's a small tribal design, and it's on this side, like this side.
Mhm.
So I have to cover that also. So I was planning to do like merge that tribal design with a beard and octopus tentacles. So like planning to do that, sir.
Yeah. Do you
Like
have
cover
any?
ups. Yes,
Do you
sir.
have any photos or any of the images or your sketches or anything with you
Yes, sir.
that you could
Yes, sir.
show? Yeah. Let's
Yes,
let's
sir.
let's
I'll
see
show
what some
you.
of them look like. Yeah. The world of cover ups, man. You can. It's a full-time job.
Yes, sir. Easy. So, sir, can you see this?
Yeah. Yeah. I can.
Sir,
Yeah. Really nice.
so this is the design that I was thinking to do over the piece. So, sir, this is the like
Okay.
these are the
Mm-hmm.
small tribal
Mm-hmm.
designs, and here also there's a script.
Okay.
So it's actually a very thin arm. So I was thinking to like cover this whole arm with this design. So right now this is just an idea,
Mm-hmm.
but I will like create this design. I will completely draw this design, and I was thinking to like wrap this design to the whole arm, like so that. But sir, I was thinking like, do I should I just put this figure in the front only, or cover the arm with this design, like
I
to
mean,
make it a half sleeve?
I like the best I can tell. I like the half sleeve idea, and it looks like I can't tell exactly where the other tattoo is currently in, but it makes sense to me to kind of to use the entire arm like you have. Does that tribal piece? It goes down onto his hand a little bit, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're
It's going
using
into the
what like
hand.
vegetation and like leaves and things like that to cover it. Is that
Yes, sir. For this, on this hand, I was thinking to like put a leaf around it,
Mhm.
and the main attention was on the face here. So that
Yeah.
is my plan. So, but sir, that I was thinking to like I don't want to make it very cluttered, but I don't know, like I should play with some light source or something like that. Uh,
Yeah, I think you're on the right track. I think you know where you have the head, where you have the face on the inner arm, I think is good because that's a nice focal point. Anyways, you have the face kind of
yes, sir.
facing forward, which is nice. I always prefer having heads facing forward. I don't know, it drives me crazy when heads face the wrong way. But yeah,
Okay,
so
sir.
the one challenge I think you have is when that person's in their natural standing position. That's where the cover up kind of you know, or that's where the tribal really is on the front of their forearm and the front of their hand. So when they're standing with their arm down, you have that big dark area that you kind of have to deal with, and
Okay,
that's
sir.
naturally a focal point because when someone's in their natural standing position, you see that front area of their arm.
Yes,
So yeah, that I think is your biggest challenge. You on the inner arm, you're not going to have any trouble because you're going to be able to distract them and use the head and the face.
okay, sir.
And
Okay.
but on the front of the arm, like where it turns, is probably where you're going to have to put some thought in. And I can't tell because that angle isn't showing. I can't tell what
Yes,
the
sir.
transition looks like. Do you know what that transition looks like from the face to all the hair and vegetation on the outer arm?
Sir, I didn't took the picture of the like this area of the tattoo, like this part from the front.
Yeah.
So like I have like uh, this kind of error. But like I have this plan to like put this beard or something like that from here to here, like
Mm-hmm.
make it flow with this design only, and or just like put this octopus tentacles over there and
Okay.
cover
Yeah.
this up. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also use some opaque colors, like to do. I have seen your video, sir. That one
Uh, uh,
of Empire Inks. So like I was looking
oh
for that
yeah.
inks, but it's not
Uh-huh.
available in India. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
You know that didn't that you're talking about the Empire Whitewash series.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you know, I've seen that. I shot that video whenever I had just used those, and now I've been using those for a little while, and I've seen them settled in. They really don't hold any opacity long term. They don't really look any different healed. So I don't know that they're really
Yes,
any
sir.
better for cover ups. Probably full on opaque grays if you're trying
Okay,
to stay
sir.
grayscale or better, like, you know, something that is black mixed with white. That whitewash, what I've found is that it just, it's great for on the lighter side of the whitewashes. It's great when you're putting the tattoo in the skin. You can see the consistency of the wash. That white ink kind of knocks back some of the redness of the skin. But then by the time
Yes,
it's
sir.
healed, it doesn't look any different than a normal gray wash to me. And of course, you know,
Okay, sir.
I've got older eyes,
So, sir,
but
I should use like normal gray wash set, like Eternal's gray wash set.
yeah, the whole
Should I
piece is
use
going to
that?
be, it is going to be black and gray, the entire piece.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Black and
okay.
gray.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Do you have a photo of his arm facing forward? You know what I mean? Like not the outer, not the inner, but like the like where you
No,
can see the
sir.
thumb forward. You don't have that? Okay.
No, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I mean,
So let me show you a different design, like
okay,
one more cover up.
okay.
Yes, sir. That is also like that's seriously crazy.
Yeah, it's just the placement of that tribal is what really is the biggest challenge there, I think, is
Yeah.
because it
So this
sits in
tribal
that
is like
transition area.
little small. Like this is not like a very big cover up, but like let me show you this one.
Oh, yeah, that one is. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
This is
okay,
crazy.
that's crazy.
So
Yeah.
yes, sir. So I was thinking to like do something black over here.
Mm-hmm.
I have no ideas like what to do. So I was thinking to like just put some black and negative lines. Like this is a very rough idea, but this is my plan. So I
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
like still work on this.
right. Yeah, that one's tough. Let me look at the original again. Yeah, see, and you can't really go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, like sometimes if you try to do, sometimes I've seen if you just do straight black over or something like that, you can still kind of see the texture of the older tattoo underneath. So like
Yeah,
a little bit of texture is good
Okay, sir.
like, is there no
yeah.
laser option?
No, sir. In India, we don't have that good laser.
Uh,
And I'm living in this place. There are like not so professional scene over here, like tattooing also. So I don't
yeah.
recommend people to go for lasers.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you should get one someday. You'll make a fucking bazillion dollars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if
Crazy,
you're
sir.
whoever it is that starts the lasering in India is gonna fucking kill it because it's like
Yeah,
massive.
yeah.
But okay,
Crazy, sir.
well, fair enough. I'll acquiesce. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a challenge for sure. And does he
Yes,
care
sir.
how much, I mean, because he has bad tattoos on his upper arm too. Does he care how much
Yes, sir.
space you take up? Are you gonna, because if you can design a full sleeve, it gives you a
Yeah.
few more options than if
Yes,
just
sir. Full sleeve. Yes, sir. I'm doing on
okay.
full sleeve on him. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it is the back at least. At least it's not the front of the forearm.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I've found that, you know, I mean, that one in the photo, it looks like it's pretty well in there. It looks pretty black. Sometimes I've found that if I go back with a black that maybe I've put a little deep purple in, or I've been using this color, an eternal color called dried blood, which is a really nice kind of deep black that blends out really nicely to a lot of different colors. I've been using it as a
Okay, sir.
transition color from black to anything, from black to blue, from black to red, and it really transitions nicely. Sometimes you can pack, you know, if you were using, say, like take that design that you were just that you just put up as the cover up. If you were using something like that, you can sometimes pack over the top of that black with a purple black, and then in the negative areas come back in with a light opaque gray, and you can create some sense of space and break that black up a little bit. It's never going to be, you know, perfect, but sometimes you can manipulate it, even if the existing tattoo is pretty black. I was trying to think, it seems like, let me look at my iPad while you guys are doing, seems like I've done that recently, but I can't picture the piece right now.
Yes,
But
sir. I have
some,
seen that video also that you have shown on the like how to do cover-ups. 3 minutes
yeah.
video, I think so. So I was
Yeah.
studying through
Oh,
that also.
yeah. I did do a 3 minute. I did a feather, a rework of a feather that is not near, this is way more challenging than that feather was, but it's the same
Yes, sir.
idea. Let me try to pull that up real quickly. That's that's actually was the one that I was thinking of. Let me see here. Let's go to YouTube. I will here, let me put you guys on my well, let me pull it up on YouTube first, and then I'll switch over to my iPad. Yeah, that same idea, but now of course mine. I guess you are using color in this cover up, right? In this sleeve, because he has color already.
No, sir.
You're not. You're gonna try to
Mm,
cover those red flames with black and gray.
yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Let me pull up over here on this screen. My YouTube's being a little slow on my iPad, so I'm gonna pull it up on my Cintiq. So.
Well, while it's pulling up, we should just schedule a Cover Up 911 episode where we encourage people to bring us their cover up projects, and we have a couple of experts throw out ideas. And
it's so helpful to get ideas from other people, and it doesn't even. The funny thing is I mean, obviously, it'd be great to have people who are really experienced in it throwing out ideas, but half the time I'm struggling with an idea, and my wife walks by and says, "Could you do this?" Or could you? And it's just the extra set of eyeballs or the extra brain.
That looks like a tree branch to me. A tree branch. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let me see here if I can go back to our videos. Yeah, and it was a 3 minutes to better tattooing. Let me go to OBS.
Oh, 3 minutes to better. I need to email. How do I start the process for the 3 minute marketing tip?
Oh, yeah, just maybe just like a Google Doc that we can start, and we can. Okay, let me see if that. I don't need the volume. Hold on, let me turn the volume off. Well, let's see. Do I have a before of this tattoo? Oh, this is before I had my new camera set up. See how much better it looks now than that? Let's see. Let me see if I've got when I first started it. This one had some fairly dark. Okay, so this was the before, and see, it's pretty dark right there in the center. Not quite as bad as yours, but I was able to break that black up, and it did hold. That's a trick that I use a lot of times whenever I just to see how black something is. I'm lucky to have a really black tattoo on my forearm, so I'll put it up against the other tattoos just to get an idea of how black it really is. Let's see here if I can get to the end. You can see the kind of before and after. But see how this is when it's fresh, so it's harder to that hides a lot. But just coming through and laying in blacks with purples, and then coming back and laying in just trying to create texture and break that black up a little bit really seems to work. Okay, so sorry, you get an idea though. I think there's a longer version of this. We did a 3 minute, and then we did a full technique video on it. But sometimes just using linear texture, using like a purpley black, and then maybe a medium opaque kind of gray. There we go. We'll break those things up. And I do have healed photos of this one too. And it held, obviously not quite that well, but it held pretty well. And from where that tattoo started, it really came a long way. And it was just a matter of like trying to push and pull. And I did have the luxury in this one of creating that distraction where the peacock feather is. Yeah, so there's a little bit of the before and after. I did have the luxury of creating that distraction, so you'll have to do that too, probably, whether it's up on his elbow or pull that piece up again. Actually,
yes, sir.
Let me just see if there's a place that you could pull the attention away from the back of the forearm. That would be helpful. Let's see. Okay, so maybe some combination of the small, whatever the separate black shape is down on his wrist, maybe a combination of that, and then whatever you can do in the elbow will help to draw attention away. Like you could use the elbow as a nice bright light source. And at the very least, you can kind of distract from whatever kind of texture you have to end up building in that, in the dark area. Man, I don't know. So like you've got a real project on your hands there. It's I'm with Gabe. You need laser treatment.
Crazy, sir, crazy. Sir, like if I like cover this up with black and do multiple sessions, what do you think it will go? Like, will it work, sir?
Yeah, I mean, you're the good news with tattoos like this is you're always going to make them better. You know, so like I always set fairly low expectations so that I'm sure that they'll be happy at the end. So I'll say, you know, like, well, this is pretty dark. I always tell people like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to get it to a level that I would be able to if this wasn't here, but I'll make it better than it is. I say things like that. and then of course by the end of it, it's way better than than they were expecting, and
Yes,
and
sir.
everyone's always happy with it. So set expectations low. Definitely plan for multiple sessions, and remember, you're not going to cover that dark area. You're going to have to distract attention from it. That's the big thing. You're going to have to like have
And sir,
something somewhere nearby that says, hey, look at me, don't look at this.
okay, sir. Okay. And so, like this red flames over here, like,
Yeah.
will the blacks cover this up? Towards the back?
Yeah, Gabe was talking about texture, and that was the first area I thought of. I can't tell. I mean, obviously, I've not seen the tattoo in person, but I would assume that those big, heavy lines of the flames are going to be at least as big of a problem as the big black area, if not more. Only because at least the big black area, you can make that whatever by building texture and stuff in it. But the hard lines of those flames are going to be difficult to distract from, and there's such, the shapes aren't nice. That's the worst part about it. Like the flames themselves are so poorly drawn that you can't even grab the lines of the flames and convert them into something else, because they're just
Yes,
not
sir.
an attractive shape. So
What's the desired image?
yeah, we
What do they
Um,
want? Do they just want anything, or?
Yes, sir. Like he just want to cover this up. So I gave him the idea like we should do blacks like Hanumantra style. So
Oh,
I
right, the
totally
armory
convinced.
stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Like cover this side and then back side and then give negative space in from inside. And then the whole area from the upper arm is like clean, so we can do like something good over there, like this part.
Yeah, right. I guess I was
Yeah.
just seeing. I just had a recent trip to Howe's Caverns, which is really dark with spots of light. You can do some sort of undergroundy kind of stalactites, stalagmites. Hit some of the black with a texture that might, sometimes you can get shit to sit on top of it, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well, you should definitely, let's keep us posted on the progress on this one. When are you supposed to start the piece?
So right now, like I have asked him to like give me some time to like start. So I'm taking my time. Like I'm taking like a month to design this to start working on this. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
next month, maybe I will start working on this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to see what you come up with, and then we could always help make decisions during the process as well. So yeah,
Yes.
man, congratulations on that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Who else popped on? I saw someone that kind of jumped on and then left again. What?
Caroline Evans, who's
She
been
was
beaming in
on.
sometimes, was having phone problems, but then
Okay.
Melissa just beamed in.
Melissa, what's up, Melissa? How are you?
I'm replacing the
Yes.
spotlight.
All right.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Nice and
Perfectly.
early for you, huh? Uh,
Yeah.
so tell us what's going on here. You got an existing piece that you're building off of?
So this was a piece I started 2 sessions ago. He doesn't sit for long sessions. It's a double cover up. He's got a cover up through here and he's got a cover up through here. As you can see, they're pretty faded, so they're super easy just to blast over.
Oh, good deal.
Basically, he wanted something that was kind of like bone armor, love skulls, and spot color. So we're doing a gray opaque and some spot color of blue.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Sweet.
When I put it on him, this area was still open. I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, so now I've got it mapped out, and I'm just kind of figuring out where my shade work's going.
Gotcha. So you started it without having the full kind of concept out. I'm
Well,
terrible about that.
sometimes
Like,
it's
yep.
nice.
Yeah.
Because it allows me to actually see how, because like I got this in there and I wasn't quite sure what to do with the top.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually allowed me to kind of get some layering in there, and I'm not sure what I'm doing in the background just yet. So I'm kind of playing with this so I can figure out this. And
Yeah.
underneath he's got another skull with some flame work that I've done that I had a massive massive cover up I did a couple of years ago, and it's super solid. You can't even see it.
Oh, nice.
So we're kind of merging that into this, and then we'll work with the inner bicep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sweet. I like the layout. Are you so you still have you're kind of blocking all this in, and then you still have to come. Are you going to come back through and kind of render it as a whole, or are you finishing it kind of piece by piece? Do you think?
It depends. So he normally only sits for about 3, maybe 4 hours at a time.
Yeah,
So I usually line in and then I kind of just get as far as I can get within the session. I've got ideas for the inner bicep. I just haven't mapped them out yet, and I need to figure out the transition here down into the lower arm.
yeah, yeah. Gotcha. That glowing effect from like the blue light coming from the inside of the skull, that's always one of those tricky things to get it to really glow. And I had a discussion with Guy about that a while back on some talk whenever before the regular reinventing, when you were doing what was it called, Gabe? Just the conference or the virtual gathering, about the ways to get that illusion. And it's funny because I always thought of Guy as kind of the one that in my mind, he kind of invented that in tattooing, whenever he would do these like glowing lotus flowers back in like late 90s, where it was like the light source was coming from inside the flower. And I was surprised to hear him say that he still struggles with getting those glowing effects because he's afraid to go too dark in the other areas. This tattoo reminds me, it makes me think of that, because one way to intensify that glow is for everything else to go a lot darker than you think it should. So like, for example, right now, and I know you're still in in the middle of it, but you've got skin tone coming through the skull, and that skin tone, no matter how light or saturated you pack in that blue, the skin tone is always going to read lighter than the blue. So if the blue is the light source, then that skin tone in that skull can't be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. It is turning out lighter than I wanted, so I'll probably at some point go down through and kind of saturate a bit more into the darker tones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with his skin and the gray opaques, but for some reason it heals great and it heals solid, and it actually heals a little darker than what it looks when it's fresh. Which is weird. But
are those are opaque grays in the skull, or gray washes? They're opaque.
They're an opaque gray.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. You that is, one person that did a good job of that, mainly in Gabe, you might remember, did Jeff Gogway do a lot of that just in paintings, the kind of glowing skulls, or did he do it he did it in some tattoos as well, but he pulled it off really well, getting that really strong glow in a few of his pieces way back. I bet you couldn't even find those pieces now. I know they're not on his Instagram or anything, but they would be great reference for that.
Let me I'm going to fire up, not that it's fair to talk about people's art and then fire up Guy's, but you're talking about Guy's work, so let me fire up his some of his last tattoos have got some of this glowy shit going on.
Yeah, he actually that very last one that is in progress right there is a great example of that. It's such a huge area of light too, which when I first saw that, I was like, oh wow, that's bold. But see, like all those outside shapes, there's really no skin tone in those. They're like pretty saturated, pretty dark, which allows him to go a little deeper with some of those reds. Did he have yeah, okay, there it is. But see, to Guy's point, that's what he's saying. He's like, so like those greens that are in the foreground, from what I understand, what he was telling me, he was like, I wish that I was bold enough to go darker with those so that it made the inner reds glow more.
Yeah.
But he just, for using his words, he said he gets scared to go too dark, for it to get too heavy. But yeah, good example.
Yeah.
And he's using a lot of color contrast to do that too.
Oh yeah.
Not just value contrast, but color contrast too.
Yeah, it's like definitely wanting to go darker, and I know that I want to go darker in the background to pull it forward more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or if that glow is coming from behind the skull or inside the skull, that's something you have to decide, because if it's behind the skull, then you have a light background and a dark foreground, right? If it's just inside the skull, then that's different. It can just be light inside the skull. But that's I've got this piece that I started, or a piece from yesterday that I'm let me see if I can pull it up real quickly. A piece that I lined it maybe 3 years ago, and he doesn't live here in town, and I had completely kind of forgotten even what it looked like. And but it's a full leg sleeve. And so I had to come back through and like make a plan, because I only have 1 day to work on it, and I have to like just make some simple and bold decisions on where the light's coming from, what's dark and what's light. And sorry, let me see if I can pull it up. What's it on? Oh, it's on my Instagram, I think. Let's see here. Let me switch over to the right camera. Okay. Oh wow, that's really nice. Who did that? Look at that. That's just what popped up when I pulled Instagram up. That's crazy.
Who did it?
Let me see, let me zoom in. Zeng, Z-H-E-N, Zeng Kang tattoo.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know him?
I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. That's nice. Okay. Go to my channel here. I think that it's on my story. Wait a minute. How do you get to your story on this thing? Damn it.
Click on your icon, maybe. Click on you. Click on you. The circle of you.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
hey, look at me whipping out with my Instagram knowledge.
Nice job. So what I decided, can I pause right there, or is it just going to leave? You can kind of get an idea. What I decided is that I'm going to push my contrast in the foreground and you can't even really see the background from these angles. The background is a lot of water and swirling, kind of like swirling water that goes back into the distance, like up on his hip and on his inner calf and in a few different areas. So what I'll do a lot of times is I'll just decide, like, is my background dark in my foreground light, or is my foreground dark in my background light? And then that's like decision number one. And then obviously as it comes forward, I'll push contrast more. So I'll have stronger darks against stronger lights in the immediate foreground. And then in the background, I'll maybe only work from like 0 to 4 on a value scale instead of going from 0 to 10, so that I don't have that contrast in the background. And but starting, especially when you're building it the way that you are, Melissa, with where you're kind of building it as you go, making those simple decisions will make life so much easier, where you just go like, okay, it's already glowing in the background behind this skull, so why don't I just say all the foreground is dark and all the background is light, and the light source is coming mostly from behind everything. And then that helps you to describe those shapes that you're shading right now. It's like, all right, if the light's coming from behind those, they have this kind of like ring light around them, and the center of them is pretty dark. And then that will kind of inform everything else going forward. Otherwise, for me at least, it gets really confusing, and I'll start to like mix up where my light's coming from. I'll end up with some background areas that are a little too dark whenever my foreground area was supposed to be the dark, and then the whole design starts to flatten out. Stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It's always tough for me when I'm thinking about the glowy bits. Like I have to take a look at a photo of like a lightsaber or something to remind myself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's exactly. I do the same thing. I've learned cheats on what will work, but I think it's always good to look and see what happens in real life. We were just talking about Guy, and he's kind of the master of those crazy inner light or backlighting effects. But I've heard him say that he still is like trying to pay attention. He's built, he'll build mock-ups and light them so that he can see what really happens. So even with all the knowledge that he's built over whatever 20 or 30 years of doing that type of tattooing, he's still trying to figure out what it really looks like. So that's and that's how your tattoos go from pretty good or good to exceptional or extraordinary, is by constantly having that desire to make it more believable or better. Here's a piece that I started recently. I actually was drawing it on this show, but this one is like the ultimate version of what I'm talking about right there, because there's so much happening in it, and it's way more stuff than I would normally put in any sleeve. So because of how much stuff is in here, there's no way I can like shade and render all these things individually. It'll turn into chaos. So I have to think like, all right, can you guys see my pointer? Yeah. Okay. So I have to think like, okay, everything from this dude, the top of this dude's head, all the way down, his entire body is going to be basically, one value and mostly blues and everything, and then it'll fade to a lighter blue and a gray to skin right before it hits the lion's head. And then everything behind him will be more muted and mostly reds and do the same thing. It'll start darker at the top and then fade to where it fades out just before his head. So that I have these major shapes where I've got this like, whatever value and color this upper area is, whatever value and color this midground is, and whatever value and color this foreground is. And they have to be crazy simple because there's already too much happening. And if I go through and I start to like, where would the light hit his beard, and, you know, trying to get like cast shadows from his nose to be perfect, or, you know, trying to get reflective stuff in his armor or detail in his fur. If I start paying attention to that stuff, this tattoo is going to turn into a disaster. So
Right.
I just have to simplify it.
From that perspective, it is tough to kind of piece things together.
Yeah.
There are things like in the lower section that had I known he wanted a full sleeve at the time, I probably would have done differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a little frustrating when they come. It's nice that they come back to you, but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating that, you know, if they had the foresight to think about what they wanted to do entirely, it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just a lot of times it doesn't work that way. I was trying to see if I had another good example of that type of thing. I don't see one right there. This tattoo had a lot going on, and we stayed super muted with it, but same thing, like I started noticing that my textures were getting out of control, and she had so much stuff that she wanted in it that I just decided to use super flat, opaque, muted colors in a big chunk of the tree so that the bird and the dragon actually, you know, stood out from it. And then the same thing as this is supposed to be like a brain that blends into the top of the tree and a heart at the bottom of the tree. Same thing there. As I started building textures in the brain, I was like, I have to drop all the texture out of these other leaves and things, or it's going to turn into chaos. Just have to like oversimplify, just so it doesn't completely fall apart on me. Usually, if something's not working in the most simple way, you're not going to fix it by adding more stuff to it. Yeah.
Right.
It's just the way it seems to go.
Tends to make things muddy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if I have a before of this. This is a piece kind of like what actually what you were dealing with do I have yeah, so this guy had a lot of spotty, like just small tattoos like this. I actually started to do a technique episode on this, and I've got some footage, and I never went any further with it, but trying to take the existing shapes and turn them into something else. So repeat, like he had these little filigree swirls, so I added more filigree swirls, and then I realized that's going to be a lot of stuff going on right there. So these big sweeping wings that come across here, I did almost nothing to, you know, they're just like flat and almost relief for your eye. And then we introduced another pattern, and this pattern that I introduced up here is based on some patterns that are up on his shoulder on another tattoo. So it's just like grabbing what's already there and trying to find a way to repeat it so it looks intentional. And then you run into the trouble where it's like, well, okay, this is chaotic and that's chaotic. So all I can do in between is something as, you know, as simple as I can make it. So.
Right.
Okay, sir.
What's that?
No, I said okay, sir.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I didn't really have anything else to say other than that. I could just see like I've been in that same kind of boat, Melissa, where I'm like trying to piece something together. I think a tattoo is going to be one thing, then they want to make it bigger, they want to add more, and then I realize like, oh, and a lot of times it's like you start thinking too much about what fits and what design makes sense and how this will pull from this, and you forget things like, where's my light coming from? And then you realize like, oh shit, I'm shading this and it's lit from the bottom, and then this other piece that I did is lit from the left, and now you're in trouble. Or like something I forget a lot that makes such a huge difference is I forget where cast shadows would go. And it's like without cast shadows, everything looks amateur to me. So it's like, if the light's coming, it's got to be casting a shadow somewhere. And a lot of times I'll finish a piece and then look at the photo and go like, oh shit, I didn't put any cast shadows anywhere. I forgot about them. So that's where that stuff really having a process like that, a simple process, really helps.
And so I like getting at least like the gray tones in. I actually, So the piece I was working on last week, I actually had to reschedule yesterday, and I was able to pull him in to do the next bid on it. So I'm thankful I was 2 weeks ahead.
Oh yeah. What is that? Do you have it pulled up there?
Let me. This is where we were yesterday.
Gabe, can you are you there, Gabe? Can you change the highlight, take me off and put Melissa up?
Yeah, hold on. Voila, sorry. Replace spotlight. Boom.
All right.
So we're still bringing it together. This is a massive piece. You don't really, it's hard to tell
Yeah.
in photo, but he is like 6'4", 6'5". This is larger than an 8x10 piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
It's
is
a big
a
piece.
massive shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's a cover up. So you can see where we've worked in a lot more of the gray tones, the gray opaques, and where I'm kind of trying to lighten a little bit here and there.
Yeah. I think you were laying this out, sketching this out the last time you were on, or sometime recently on a morning show.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah. That's gonna work. That's gonna work great. Same thing. Just like you've introduced some cast shadows underneath the whatever the kind of background shape. I can see where there's a little bit of a drop shadow there. So now that you've made that decision, at least you know, all right, the light's coming from like straight above, so everything has to cast down, and nothing in the light side is going to be as dark as anything in the shadow side. And I think just setting those simple rules up for yourself, it makes it a lot easier. Otherwise, you can turn it like a piece into this. If I don't think that way, I'll turn it into a texture disaster. So it'll just be like way too many textures, and you can't tell what any actual shapes are,
Right. I see below this we've got like a Valkyrie woman and the inner bicep. That's another cover up area. We'll have like some Viking scenery underneath this armor. I actually left this bottom section open so I could overlap and figure out what I wanted to do there with transitioning it. And then we've got another, I think the worst part of it is that there's a blue and black nautical star on the back underneath his elbow down on his forearm.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the hardest portion to figure out what the heck to do with.
Yeah.
And I've tried a couple of different things, but it's just not there yet.
Right. Yeah, a lot of times just sticking with the shape of the star as a starting point and trying to build out from there and figure out how it ties in. But yeah, that always sucks.
I wish it were a lighter blue, because then I could do like some Celtic on the inside of it and transition it out and it'd be fine, but it's a super dark blue.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that cover up's going to work great. I would just I'd just say, as you're going, remember that light source and simplify. What are the kind of major shapes, where do the cast shadows go, and build from there. The only danger I see, because of the cover up and your tendency is to try to like hide the cover up in texture. The only danger that I see is if you end up with so many textures everywhere that it flattens the piece out. So some stuff has to be like, not textured at all, and then other areas, will.
Yeah, like all of this stuff through here, all of that's the original tattoo.
Okay.
So I'm kind of using that and just leaving that alone because I actually like those textures.
Yeah.
It works well for the skull, but the bulk of them, I mean, pretty much pulled into the eyes of the nose. There's a little bit through here I'm trying to lighten. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we finished up the horns yesterday, and that really gave it a lot of visual impact.
Yeah.
And we're still gonna do like a pop of red throughout, but I haven't gotten to that point yet because the piece is huge.
Gotcha. Do you know how you're going to use the red yet?
I'm not entirely sure, so I'm leaving a lot more skin open than I would if I were decided 100%.
Yeah.
Because as a whole arm sleeve, I want to make sure that it's not used too much.
Yeah, and that's probably something that you kind of get everything laid out to at least to this point through the entire, are you doing the entire arm at once, or it's something he's building over time?
It's something he's building over time.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not like a huge span, but he's coming in usually about every 3 months.
Okay, so you're planning to do it all without a break, like go from this to full sleeve.
Right.
Just work. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just me, but I know blocking in the cover up's an important part of it. But at this point, I would go ahead and just map out the rest of that arm and get everything, everything laid in there at once, rather than trying to, put a piece on the end of this piece and put a piece on the end of that piece and render individually. I just, once it's all laid out, a lot of times those answers come to you a lot easier. And I always tell people, like, if they're nervous about that or about how long they're gonna have to sit, really just laying the sleeve out is what takes time, the stencil and the drawing and stuff like that. But like in the time that it took you to do that shading, you could probably outline a whole sleeve. I mean, the lines don't have to be perfect when you first lay them out. Just, use a small liner and go through and block the entire thing in. And
the downside is that I don't like using line work all the way through, like the solid black, and the color tends to take a little bit longer to do it. So like there's certain areas I want to outline and have those bold lines too, and there's other areas where I don't.
I gray line basically everything. That sleeve I just showed you with all of those, with the warrior and all that stuff that I said could turn into chaos. I don't think there's a black line in that line work. It's all from medium gray to light gray lines. And then whenever it comes back in, it's light enough that some of the lines, if you don't need them, can just go away or become some piece of texture. And then some of them you can build up, but at least all the shapes are laid out. Because I'm with you, I typically don't know where I want bold lines, until well into the color even. I'm still kind of making that decision. But so I'll just go through and lay out kind of light wash lines all the way through. And I just tell people that it's like, I don't know, some of these things might not even be lines by the end of it. I just need these as my guides. I call it a permanent stencil. I always just tell people I just need this permanent stencil so that I don't have to worry about, spending another 30 minutes making new stencils and sticking them to you. We'll just get it all laid on here roughly, and then some of it'll stay and some of it'll go away. It's just the way it works.
I have all except for the right underneath the armor bit of it drawn out. So it's like, I know where that's going, but I haven't figured out the scenery to go with it. And because it's more of a realism style or like an illustrative realism, I'm not wanting to even gray line it. I want to get in there and just get it in.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, you gotta find your own process. I've found that it's easier for me once I see it laid out. A lot of times laying something out on an iPad, translate to skin the way that I think it's going to, especially with a full sleeve, and I'm trying to like make sure that there's something interesting to look at from all angles. And so, if I'm pretty sure this is going to land on the front of the forearm, but it ends up landing just to the back, closer to the elbow, then it's like, that now my focal point's completely thrown off from there. Or maybe it ends up stacked over something else that's a similar shape. So maybe if you were trying to do something, you mentioned something Celtic. So maybe if you've got, let's say we'll take this tattoo. You've got this roundness of the skull on the upper arm right here, and then the next thing you know, you get stuck with something that's almost the same shape directly below it, and stacking those things right on top of each other looks kind of wonky or like they're trying to compete with each other. A lot of times I don't know that stuff's going to happen until I start to lay it out. So I don't want to render too far and then kind of back myself into a corner. I kind of want to see how those big shapes are going to sit, on the front end. But like this, the piece that I'm drawing today is going to be kind of the armor with similar to what you're doing right there, actually. It's got it's not a crest, but it's a fairly simple kind of stylized letter that has, I forget, something to do with his family, but it's going to be kind of carved into this armor, stamped in, and I'm going to do an inner glow, so the light will be, and it's same thing. It's blue, and the rest of it's all black and gray. So almost the same color palette as what you have right there. And so, yeah. And so in order to do that, I have to make sure. So the battle that I'll have is I have these big sweeping areas of armor that will have some pings and dents and things like that, and they will have to catch highlights in some area. But I also need to make sure that the blue that's glowing through from the stamp of the letter that's going to be right on his deltoid is what stands out as the lightest, brightest kind of point. So that's kind of the challenge. So the armor is just going to have to be a much deeper kind of gunmetal gray than being a light, bright kind of armor. And then the highlights can kind of serve as highlights because everything else will be so dark. But the glow of the inner glow of the blue stamp or whatever embossed piece or whatever will still stand out as lightest. Another thing on this real quick while we're talking about shapes, I'll look at the person's body, and this guy's deltoid is like, he has a very kind of forward deltoid, so he has a lot of muscle on the front of his arm, but then the back where it wraps into his shoulder is much flatter. And I think most people's tendency with armor is to make it symmetrical. But if I were to just draw this flat and then flip it so that I had a perfectly symmetrical design, it wouldn't look symmetrical at all. It would look flat on one side of his arm because of the shape of his deltoid, and it would look really round on the other side of his arm. And then the same thing. See, like his tricep is big, but his bicep is flat. So I'm intentionally skewing all of it, and you can see I already started drawing in the cast shadow here, so that it'll give the illusion that the armor is like sitting up a little bit over, so it's actually overlapping rather than being like tied to the next piece of armor. So I'm doing trying to figure out how long my cast shadows might be, and I'm bringing light from the front to the back so that it's like intentionally off-centered, intentionally asymmetrical, because his arm is so asymmetrical. And that's what I mean by trying to lay the whole thing out on the front end, is you can solve a lot of those problems that are specific to that person.
That's part of the reason that I did the more asymmetrical type thing here, is like he said, bone armor, kind of that feel, and I'm just sitting here going, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of like pronounced musculature, so I'm like trying to emphasize where that would be based on his body lines. Yeah.
A lot of times people's bodies help to, they solve problems for you. Like this guy of mine in particular, he's got very, for especially, he's an older guy, but he's got, he obviously works out. He's got, his arms are are muscular. And so that, like, as soon as I saw them, I was like, okay, it's not going to be a symmetrical piece of armor, obviously, because it would sit wonky. So we're going to like kick it kind of crazy, almost fisheye it or something like that, and make it look, way off. And that was something that I was able to determine as soon as I met him, as soon as I photographed his arm. It's just like, oh, okay, well, now at least I have a starting point. I know what it's going to be. So. All right, what else do we have, Gabe? What is it? It's 10 after. I got a text from Lauren. I thought Lauren was going to jump on and announce our new Sunday show, but she said that she couldn't make it this morning.
Okay, well, we could figure out another time to get together, the three of us, just to do a little bit of a teaser. And
yeah,
doesn't have to be live and us umming and on to edit later. We could just record it later.
Right, yeah, absolutely. That'll
cool. I did send you a Google Doc for the 3-minute marketing methods.
Nice. All right.
For one of them at least. And this was fun. Well, and you're off to exercise. I guess I have to be off to exercise also.
Yeah. Everyone should go exercise now. I'm trying a new gym today. I've been at the same gym for 10 years, and there's one that's like a block from my studio that's a quarter of the price, and so I'm going to go there. I did a 2-week trial. I'm going to go there today, try something new.
Awesome. And I also am looking for dates to do something there in Memphis, maybe
awesome.
January, February, March-ish.
Yeah, that sounds great. For anyone that's listening, or for you guys, actually, Melissa, we're gonna. I've got a really nice photo and video studio that's attached to my tattoo studio, and we have concerts back there for 60, 80 people, and so it's a great spot to do workshops, seminars, whatever. So we're gonna try to plan some like boutique-y little Memphis thing. We'll try to get Guy out of the woods, see if he'll come down, and maybe a handful of other people. So we'll pick a date for that.
Brad.
We were talking about maybe doing it possibly as a like black and gray weekend. So maybe if we brought some black and gray specialists in and see if we can steal some tricks.
Heck
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, let's see about that. Well, cool. All right, I'm gonna jump off here. You guys have a good week. Melissa, good luck. Good luck with that piece. Keep us posted. And Akshay, you've got some real work cut out for you.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, you guys have a
Awesome.
good one. We'll see you
Well,
next
thanks,
week.
everybody. We're going to hop on off here, and I've got another stream coming up at noon. So thanks again. This has been fun as always, and we'll catch up